Today marks 1360 sharing lessons to learn and continue to learn with all of you. I hope the decent size will inspire you, support your dreams, help you achieve your goals, and really empower you to become the person that you want to become. Today's is a unique day. 99.99% of the time I always record my lessons on my laptop, but today I'm at my home place in Squadas and I will record outside just to really remind you where I came from. And I think that's very important to really go back to the core places and understanding what really taught you to. Today the topic of today's lesson will be very simple. Really just writing down what kind of questions could we ask ourselves when we explore our past, when we go through the places where we live in, the places that we grew up in, the places where we spend a long time with exploring and being there. And I think that is very important because there's a lot of things to gain when we actually ask the right questions that allow us to recover the benefits from the past. So today we'll share 10 questions that we potentially could ask ourselves when we go back to the places where we lived, where we grew up, where we spent time with, experienced. So what are those questions? So the number one question is, who was here and who I am now? I think it's a beautiful question. Who I was here. Like, who was I? Like, did I enjoy myself? What kind of emotional state I had? What kind of mental state? All the things, financially, how I was, like all the things that we can really reflect on. Who I was here. And did I enjoy myself? And then like, who I am now? So what is the gap? How big the gap is? Do you like the gap that you created? Because of course we want to grow, improve. We want to make sure that that gap is getting bigger and bigger and bigger because we want to improve. If you say that okay, I'm exactly the same person that I was here, even though that is 10 years go by, maybe of course character and core could stay the same, but in general we need to be more, grow into something. And I think that sometimes it could be a realization that maybe I didn't do enough, maybe I didn't grow as much as I wanted. That's a could be an amazing realization. Awareness is like the key. So who I was here and who I am now, and do I like the transition that I made? Because sometimes it could be said that maybe the transitions that I made, maybe some was not as good. Maybe I was in some aspects, maybe I was better. So maybe I'll be able to go back into the old ways, old patterns, old character traits that I really admire myself. But now I just don't show those character traits anymore. And that's great, again, awareness, being able to really go back into places and maybe transition even more, because now you're aware that there are some other parts of you that you still want to improve. Number two is, what parts of myself did I leave behind here, and do I want them back? And this is, again, I already started to speak about it because I was thinking about it, is that what parts of me did they leave it behind? So what are those things? And some parts of you that it might be that you said that no, I don't like that part. That's great that I left it behind. And some parts could be, I love this part of me. I don't understand why I stopped doing the things that I love in myself. And there could be a lot of different reasons. Maybe I just wanted to fit in somewhere and I totally forgot who I truly am. And that's totally okay. Just the most important part is being able to catch yourself and be aware of the parts of yourself that you not having anymore, and really build them up. And most likely some strengths in the past that was strength, when you will reintroduce into yourself, probably will feel unfamiliar again and will need to build it up. But again, this is important to really be aware which parts of yourself you leave behind, and maybe you're supposed to be proud of yourself. Maybe you said that, oh, in the past I used to be too sensitive or whatever it is, like maybe there was some too naive or too narrow-minded, and now when looking at yourself, you're not narrow-minded. You're very well thought person. You have massive perspective, massive wisdom. So be appreciative, massive one, to really being able to really see yourself that you were never narrow-minded, but now you are better in things. And that's how I was. I was a very narrow-minded, grew up in a very small city, and I didn't know how the world works, and that's why I appreciate myself, that I was able to explore and open my mind into different things. The third question that I wrote is, what does city teach me about my strength, my fears, my weaknesses? So what this place taught me, I think there's a lot of things that the places teach you. And I think that we're able to really use those strengths in a lot of different areas in our lives. So what this place actually taught me, what you appreciate about this place. And I think that I think that what you appreciate appreciates. You appreciate the benefits that God you receive from this place. It means that you will start to be more aware of it, and you will be able to get even more of it. So this is one of the most beautiful sayings: what you appreciate appreciates. And that means what we need to do. We want to appreciate the benefits, the lessons gathered in this place, and of course that will allow us to get even more of this. Number 4 is where did they shrink to fit in, and where did they rebel to stand out? So that means that when you think about this place where you lived and stayed for a long period of time, so we're able to ask, where did I shrink in to fit in, and where I stand out, where I really rebel to stand out. I think it's very important to understand what were those areas that I potentially was not like myself. What was that? Maybe I stand out only because I just wanted to really be noticed. I wanted attention. Because one thing is that a lot of times people do bad things not because they're bad people, because they just really want some attention. And maybe they just rebel because they want to just stand out and have that attention. Or maybe you just didn't want your attention. Maybe you wanted to really heal insecurities. You didn't know that you have insecurities. You didn't know that you need to do some shadow work. You didn't know that you need to develop yourself and grow yourself. And that's where you shrink in, rather than really showing your authentic face. And again, this is again a beautiful question, is to understand, okay, so if I go back and I see people that used to know me, which parts they will not be able to understand because I changed. I now don't need to fit in. I now am who I am. And I think that sometimes we need to reintroduce ourselves to our best friends, our friends from early age, because now we are not the same person anymore. We have the same name, the same last name. Maybe it's not the same last name, if it's a lady or anything in between, but we look almost the same, but we're not the same, because we changed, we improved, we got better in a lot of different sense. Maybe something we step back, but at the same time we are different people. Number 5 is, if my younger self could see me now, what surprised them the most? Such a beautiful question. If an older version of me would meet me right now, what would that version of you would surprise that old version of you? Such a beautiful question. That means that what you learn, what you developed, what are the skills, character traits, values, beliefs that you developed over last, I don't know, maybe 10 years, maybe 15 years, it doesn't matter. Like, what did you develop that you never thought that you would develop? What you changed that you never thought that you would, who you became that you never thought that you would become? Maybe you wanted to become it, you didn't even achieve it yet. So who are you becoming that you never thought that you will work to become? Such a beautiful question. I think this is a great realization, because sometimes our values change. And because our values change, our actions change. Our actions lead to really becoming a different person. Even though I think that always we need to really have that be, do, have. So choosing who we want to become, working, taking actions to become that person, then we'll have everything what we need in our lives. Number 6 is, which relationships shape me most deeply in this place and how? Again, most important thing in life is relationships. And again, looking into this place, okay, who were the people that your people? Who were your biggest influence in your life? Did you like how they shaped your life? Did you have a great association? Did you have great relationships? In what way did they shape you? It was positive, negative? Did you learn lessons? Did you learn what friendship looks like? What did you learn from those relationships? What did you learn from those associations? I think it's very, very important to really understand how the previous relationship shaped you, and how is currently your relationships are shaping you as well. Because I think that the most people are thinking that the relationships are not shaping them, they are influenced by relationships the most. So it's very, very important to understand, okay, what relationships shape me and how do I appreciate them? As it is, I would love to forget all that influence and receiving. Number 7 is what conversations were left unfinished and how do I carry them now? What conversations were left unfinished? It might be that you run away from relations, from association, from people, from situations. It could be so many different reasons, different things that you maybe walked away. And there's unfinished. Maybe there's some unfinished business. And maybe you were not able to deal with that situation, with that relationship, with that communication, with that hard discussion. But that was old version of you. Now is new version of you, stronger version of you, better version of you, who's able to have that better conversation, who are able to have that difficult conversation, who is able to manage yourself. Your emotions are better, your mental clarity is better. So that means that the things that was too hard in the past, it might be that it's just perfect for you right now. So you're able, maybe there is something that you're able to finish, maybe you're able to reach out to people and have a conversation that you never had in the past. Maybe there is something that unfinished in the past that you're able to do right now. Maybe you're still working to become the person who is able to deal with a difficult conversation that needed to be done in the past. Number 8, who here saw you clearly, or who here saw me clearly, who misunderstood me, and why does this still matter? That means that when you think about people, some people believe that they know who you are, and they have no clue who you are. They know your weaknesses, but they don't know your strengths. Sometimes they know your strengths, but they don't know your weaknesses. And sometimes I think that the people who are the closest to you could be the most dangerous people to you because they have a broad lens and they do not understand who you truly are. So that being able to really look into the people that you spend the most time with and ask, did they know who I actually was, or did they knew my mask? How long did they wear this mask, and how long they got to know my mask? And I think that's a very important question to ask. Do my friends, do my relationships know my mask? Did I wear it for a long time, or do they actually know me, who I am, and I was really vulnerable, not sure who I truly am? Because I think that sometimes we really not sure who we truly are, and that's for different reasons again. And knowing that, I think that's very, very important. Number 8. Number 9 is there someone I need to forgive, or someone I need to thank? And even silently, who are the people that really made a massive difference without even you noticing at that moment? Maybe someone gave you advice that you didn't understand at that moment, but it ended up being a massive help in the future. Sometimes that happens, that when people give you a seed in your mind, that seed is growing, and then that seed sometimes grows like a bamboo tree, like a Chinese bamboo tree. Like for 5 years, that seed needs to grow in your mind, and after 5 years, it just skyrockets. So who are those people who potentially give you a seed that grew in your mind? I think it's very important to appreciate and say, like, I remember what you said, and that's the lesson that you gave me. I didn't understand in the beginning, but now, after experiencing life more, I know why you shared it. I know what was behind that lesson. Now I know, and I appreciate sharing that because that allowed me to really make better choices in my life, and those choices led to better actions, and those better actions led to better results. And I think that every single time we need to share the wins and the things that really actually good happen, because I think that we have a tendency to share very often the bad things that happen, but good things keep it to ourselves. But I think we need to change that, be more quiet for the bad things and really out loud share all the appreciations, because that's exactly what makes life more beautiful. Number 10, and I think this is a very beautiful question, a very, very beautiful question, is how have my definition of love, family, and friendship changed since I left? So what kind of definition did they have of life, of love? Like when you think about your most important values, what kind of definition of your most important values were back then? Sometimes it's going to be love, like of course friendship. For me, that's relationships is one of the most important things. The faith as well. So what were your definition of those most important things? And how the view of those most important things have changed over the last 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? How definition of those most important things have changed? Such a beautiful thing as well. Being able to understand that you're changing, and your definition of your most important things might change as well. And do you live now based on that adjusted version of the definition of the most important values that you live by? I mean, that is again one of the things that people feel purposeless, without meaning, without purpose, because a lot of the time they live not with alignment with their values. I think that's exactly why it's so important always to reflect, what is my definition of love? What is my definition of life? What is my definition of meaning? What is my definition of purpose? What is my definition of my life? And I think that is again very, very important things to really consider. A last question that I wrote is, what needs to be said, felt, or released for me to move forward freely? Maybe there is something that needs to be said. Maybe something needs to be released. Maybe something needs to be felt, because the best way to release things is to feel it through. Feel it through, not to deny it, feel it through. That's the best way to really release emotions. That's why a lot of times women are much better in really dealing with emotions, because they just cry it out and they feel much better. Man is just holding in, and that holding in it's put so much pressure on emotions, on the person's emotions. And I think that's being able to ask, okay, what is the best way to feel it through? For me, I learned that the best way for me to feel it through is really going to gym and lift mass weights. That's exactly how I feel. This is my meditation, and I love it. I go into a gym and lift mass weights and asking, what is your way to feel it through? Feel the emotions. Do you want to cry? Do you want to go to gym like me? Do you want to go to boxing? Do you want to go to jiu-jitsu? It doesn't matter, but the thing that is very, very important to really feel it through and release things. So today was an interesting day. I shared my place where I grew up. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. I hope that you will have a chance to go places as well where you maybe grew up, where you have changed, where you really build a foundation of yourself and really explore and build more awareness of yourself. And really sometimes we really build the beliefs, and then after that we build more beliefs on that, and sometimes we really need to root that belief out, because if there's a massive belief that it was wrong, we need to really remove whole belief, because it's unfortunately sometimes we build beliefs on a wrong belief. And if that happens, of course, it's much, much harder to achieve really significance in life and achieve the vision that we're looking for. So I hope that you really will have a time to really go back into the places, not just sometimes physically, but mentally, into places in the past, and really reflect on those places and asking the right questions. This is the 11 questions that I ask. It's just a small list of really good questions that we potentially could ask ourselves to really open up ourselves to really new way of thinking, and really being able to really appreciate the changes that they made and really get that growth mindset even more into our lives. So I hope you choose to win, and see you tomorrow.